It's your boy Rude Dog. I know y'all see the cover right there, boy. It's making moves. Me and your boy Knowledge Bone doing the damn thing, something proper like, you know what I mean? Anyways, though, that's coming out real soon, so get ready for that. Anyways, though, let's go ahead and get on into the video. Yeah, that nigga's about to learn some shit today. That nigga's about to learn some shit today. You about to learn about weed today. There you go. Now, there for my fellow potheads out there, this is almost every type of weed you need to learn about. This is every type of weed you need to know about. So go ahead and get ready for that one. I'm sorry, y'all. This is a minute into it. But yo, let's go ahead and get the disclaimer out the way. This is an adult channel where adult things do happen, adult things do go wrong. You will hear me smoking, you will hear me talking crazy, you will hear me saying some things like, what the fuck? Now, I am not encouraging smoking, but hey, if you do what you do, you do what you do. But other than that, that's my disclaimer. Now, let's go ahead and get on off into this, man. And you know this, man. You know what, though? I got a couple more episodes of this I want to show y'all. Yo, let's go ahead and get on off into this, man. Got the blunt? Yes, sir. You got the show? Got the lighter? Let's go and get our smoke on, dog.
Every type of cannabis explained, from weakest to strongest. We'll be looking at everything from the near oregano low-grade flower that you probably smoked in high school to the most insane near 100% THC concentrates that are sold at the top shelves of Cali dispensaries. Additionally, with the help of science and medical studies, we'll be categorizing each type of cannabis in the spectrum of entertainment, medical, creativity, and just plain old unhealthy. The objective of this video is to educate the public about the positives and negatives of weed in an entertaining way, but to do that, it is essential we discover how extremely varying different types of marijuana can be and why generalizing it as weed is good or weed is bad is just plain impossible. So without further ado, let's get into the weakest type of za there is, and that is low percentage THC flower and or CBD dominant strains. Okay, so I went into this video presuming you already know what THC and CBD is, but in case you don't, let's quickly summarize. THC is the chemical compound found in cannabis that makes you when the Family Guy becomes so funny, aka the munchies, laughter, feelings of euphoria, and overall its psychoactive effects come from THC. And CBD is the compound that reduces anxiety and can potentially help against depression, although the latter isn't as conclusive. There's also two distinct types of cannabis unrelated to its THC percentage, called sativa and indica, with sativa providing more of an energetic mind high and indica leaning towards a relaxing body high. So when we are talking about low percentage THC flower, aka 1 to 6% THC with a high concentration of CBD, we are in the realms of medical marijuana, meaning this type of weed, besides pure CBD of course, is the least intoxicating and can be potentially helpful to people with varying mental health issues. Just always keep in mind, smoking anything is harmful for our lungs, and even though this type of cannabis can be considered medical, it really depends on the person, their psyche, and what issues they are experiencing.
Me, I'm an indica man. You know, 'cause I got some indica shit going on in my life.
So now we know low percentage THC flower links to the medical side, but what about entertainment and creativity? Well, although this type of cannabis won't have you staring at your wall for 30 minutes plotting your trip to the kitchen, it can, however, still give you a different perspective on things. Unrealistic feelings of euphoria and cartoonish thoughts probably won't occur, but that doesn't mean your creativity won't be affected at all. You might not come up with the next Rick and Morty while under the influence of this gas, but you could come up with creative solutions to pre-existing problems or give you a slightly different perspective on what you're doing. Coupled with the high concentration of CBD, which could help you feel more at ease and reduce possible anxiety that might have been attached to you before, this type of weed is best for beginners or people who could be trying to reduce their weed dependency without going straight up cold turkey. And that's why it lands itself in the far end of the medical spectrum, but not so much in the creativity and entertainment part of the fucking thing. Anyway, moving on, mid-grade THC flower, the mid-shelf gas. I won't go over this too long as it's quite similar to the previous one, but with slight differences. Mid-grade flower usually ranges between between 10 to 20% THC, with varying levels of CBD, which general rule of thumb is for medical use, go with the highest CBD percentage, and if you just want to get faded with your friends and play split screen Minecraft, get the one with the highest THC. Just make sure it still has some CBD in it so you don't, well, green the fuck out. Why I say that is because contrary to popular belief, CBD and THC do not bind to the same receptors in our brains, but through various studies and my own personal experience, CBD in most cases can reduce the adverse effects caused by THC, aka freaking out, feelings of discomfort, spikes in anxiety, etc. That's why even if you're an experienced stoner, it's good to have some CBD oil or flower that can help you if you're getting those unwanted side effects from some high percentage THC cannabis. That's why
In other words, smoking some dyed weed. And what they dyed weed?
It's always good to consume products that don't just have high potency and get you very faded, but also represent the full spectrum of cannabinoids. Something like today's sponsor, Not CBD High Potency 10mg gummies. These gummies are legal nationwide, and there are so many benefits to digesting instead of smoking, the most obvious being, of course, the preservation of healthy lungs. But what many people also don't realize is that by digesting the cannabinoids, they become stronger and longer lasting. So instead of having to constantly re-up to keep the good vibes going, all you need is a singular gummy and you're set for almost a whole day. And to help you make the switch over to a nationwide legal and healthier alternative, Not CBD is currently offering the viewers of this video a special holiday buy one get one free deal. Yes, you heard right. All you have to do is be at least 21, go to the pinned comment, and pick 2 gummy flavors of your choice. Then use my code CBDBRO at checkout and get one of them completely free. But now, back to the video.
So this type of weed lends itself higher in creativity and entertainment, but a bit lower in terms.
You saw how he threw that pitch in there, right? You saw how he just basically just threw a pitch at you. It's like, hey, yo, man, you can get your CBD for free if you holler at me. You know what I mean? You just basically see how he threw that pitch in there. But yo, that's basically his whole throwdown on that.
Terms of its medical benefits. Moving on, high percentage THC flower, aka premium bud. This is the point where we start leaning much further away from the medical side into the entertainment and creativity side. High-end flower usually ranges between 20 to 35% THC, and unfortunately most of this top shelf flower is engineered to have very little or sometimes nearly zero CBD, which is why I said that this is the point where we really start deviating away from the term medical cannabis. But you might be asking, why can't I just get my flower with both high CBD and THC, you stupid Well, let me explain. Cannabis plants can naturally express high levels of either THC or CBD, but rarely both. This is because THC and CBD are derived from the same precursor, CBGA. The plant's genetics determine which enzyme, THC synthase or CBD synthase, is more active. In high THC strains, the THC synthase enzyme dominates, converting most CBGA into THC, leaving little room for CBD production. To add to it, cannabis growers have traditionally bred plants to maximize THC levels because of its psychoactive effects, which are highly sought after in recreational markets. Over time, this selective breeding reduced the expression of CBD in high THC strains, as the two cannabinoids tend to work in an inverse relationship. So it's also unfortunately us, the consumers' fault that super high THC and low CBD percentage is the baseline for top shelf gas these days. With brands constantly trying to compete with each other and providing the most mind-boggling high possible, there isn't really a lot of demand for high percentage CBD flower that still gets you very high. People buying weed for recreational use usually only care about the get you very high part. But I'm not saying that there is absolutely no place for this type of weed in the medical world, but it is extremely situational. The same way as inviting a friend out to have a couple drinks and watch the game on a Saturday night to alleviate the stress and anxiety from a hard week of work, this high THC flower can be a fun night to blow off steam and take your mind off real world problems for a while because, well, this shit could have you so obliterated you'll be using 100% of your brain power on figuring out how to tie your shoe, bruh. AKA, this is imagination land. I'm kinda going off personal experience on this, but the artists and musicians I know.
This weed got me coughing like hell. I'm sorry, y'all. I need to be muted. Look at it, man. I gotta fix the video.
seem to enjoy this type of cannabis the most, as it can completely block off the real world and enter you into this trance state where you are 100% focused on whatever you are doing.
But CBD, bro, doesn't that mean it helps with ADHD and anxiety?
In the moment it can, unless, well, you couldn't handle it and are instead rolled up in a ball on your couch focusing on defeating your demons. Anyway, multiple medical studies have shown that high concentration THC flower does not help against anxiety, depression, and ADHD at all. What it does instead is give you an escape from your ADHD, depression, or anxiety for a brief moment whilst under the influence, and even that doesn't come without a cost. As if you smoke too much of this high THC flower, or really any weed, you'll build up a dependency and in return feel even more distracted, have more anxiety, and increased levels of depression whilst not under the influence. AKA, if your friend claims to be smoking that top shelf Zaza for anything else than a fun time, he's either lying to you, himself, or he's just been smoking up for so long he doesn't even remember what it was like to be sober in the first place. So through everything we talked about, I'll have to place this type of cannabis right on the border of unhealthy and medical, with a very high level of creativity and entertainment. But now let's talk about our first non-farm to table cannabis, and that is hash, aka traditional concentrate. Hash, short for hashish, is one of the oldest cannabis concentrates made by collecting and compressing the trichomes, resin glands, of the cannabis plant. These trichomes contain the plant's cannabinoids and terpenes, making hash potent and flavorful. The potency varies heavily depending on the plant that was used to make it, but in general they can range anywhere between 20 to 60% THC. The biggest difference that me and other smokers I've talked to have noticed is that the high from hash, although quite strong, is usually shorter. And because this stuff is concentrated, 1 gram of hash will almost always get you higher than 1 gram of flower. The good thing about hash is, although it is concentrated cannabis, it is still natural. Traditional methods of making hash do not use any chemicals or solvents. Instead, they rely on mechanical processes like rubbing, sifting, or using ice water to extract the resin. Because of the wide variety of potency, it's quite hard to place this on our spectrum, but I'm going to put it just a bit closer to the medical side than the high potency flower, and a bit less to the creative side due to its shorter duration, which can make entering that trance state I talked about a bit hard.
Other concentrates, 60 to 95% THC.
Besides hash, there's like 10 different ways to get THC concentrate from the Zaza, some of which don't use solvents and some that do. If I were to go over every single one individually, this
you see how intelligently this cat is putting
video would probably be like 30 minutes. And since there isn't really a huge difference in potency between
You see how he putting us up on game, right? You see how he letting us know that the weed that we smoking can be upgraded or lower graded. Can be CBD or regular weed. This all depends on how it's grew or taken care of. I've been sitting back getting fucked up off of this, as you can see. Cause shit, you know, I have my mind on other shit. Yeah, but this is a powerful blunt. But this blunt kind of fits the show. The behavior of the show kind of fits because I'm hiding a motherfucker right now. But yeah, that's basically it.
Between them, I'll quickly summarize. Rosin, made by applying heat and pressure to cannabis flower, key for hash to extract resin. Live rosin, a solventless concentrate made from fresh frozen cannabis that's first turned into bubble hash and then pressed into rosin. Shatter wax, extracted using butane or propane and then purged to remove residual solvents. Live resin, extracted from flash frozen cannabis using butane or propane, then purged. Diamonds, THC crystals. THC is crystallized using hydrocarbons and solvent-based processes. THC distillate, cannabinoids are extracted using solvents, aka ethanol or CO2, and then refined through distillation. Phew. And those are the most popular concentrates, which the most flavorful are usually live resin or rosin, as these retain the most terpenes. And the strongest concentrates are usually diamonds or THC distillate. But the reality is, unless you're like a super stoner, you probably won't be able to tell much of a difference between all of them, as every single concentrate is bound to get you absolutely bamboozled, unless you know, of course, you have an insane tolerance. The main takeaway from concentrated THC is that it builds up your Zaza tolerance very fast compared to regular bud because of its high potency and usually shorter duration, making you smoke up more often. Which is why I will be placing them closer to the unhealthy side, but also the entertainment side due to the mind-boggling high it gives. But now onto the strongest type of smokable weed there is, in my opinion, and that is infused flower, aka Moonrock or Sunrock, 50 to 80% THC. You might be asking yourself why infused flower is ranked higher than concentrates when the THC percentage is actually lower. Well, take it from me, as someone who has done both dabs, aka concentrate, and infused flower, the small difference in THC.
Somebody tell me how I can get the motherfucking Sunrock weed. If y'all can get that shit for me, hit me up. Let me know, 'cause I want to get that shit.
THC percentage really doesn't matter in this case. The reason for that is, unlike dabs or the Benjamin, which on average has a shorter duration than bud, infused flower gives you that insane kick of concentrate whilst also providing the longer effect of normal bud, which in my eyes makes this the most potent smokable weed on planet Earth, but feel free to have a war in the comments about it. I'll be reading every single one like always. Placement on the spectrum will almost be the same as concentrate, but because you won't be smoking up as frequently and in return damaging your lungs a bit less, I'll put it just a bit closer to the medical side, but still definitely unhealthy. Now for the last type of Zaza that is in a league of its own, and that is of course
Edibles. Infinite THC percentage.
Why I rank Eddies as the strongest type of weed is quite simple. In the act of cooking cannabis, it turns into something different, something otherworldly, something psychedelic. If you watch some of my other videos, you'd know that I view super potent edibles as something entirely different than normal weed. I'd even go as far and compare them to mushrooms. And science has my back on this because when you digest THC in your liver, it turns into something far more potent, and return when you go to the cinema and watch Oppenheimer, you'll probably be overwhelmed and geeked the fuck out. Watch the video on the screen and you'll know exactly what I mean. Oh, and because you're not damaging your lungs in controlled doses, I'd say this is by far the healthiest way to consume cannabis, so far in medical, far in entertainment, but not so much creative because you'll most likely be immobilized. Thanks for watching, bye.
Immobilized. Subscribe. Thanks. Bye-bye. Anyways, you might fall in love with this cat a little bit more. Might fall in love with this cat a little bit more. Little bit more. But other than that, though, yeah, man, dog, that is the most powerful motherfucking weed that we have on the planet right now. And we about to get on off into this motherfucker, about to get on back. Because I'm about to roll me up one and probably come at you with another one. Other than that, though, I'm out of here. Holla at your boy, Rude Dog. Oh, yeah, by the way, go check out Izzy TV. You know, like he judging the videos. Go check that shit out, man. Yo, he got that shit on there. Real talk. The shit was like, man, who don't like a good song? You know what I mean? Who don't like a good song? But yo, let me get on about this motherfucker.